we did this, you guys were phenomenal with it. Who can remind me what the Pythagorean theorem is? What is the formula? We used it to find the unknown side of a right triangle. It had the letters A, B, and C in it. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Nice job, Marilyn. Okay. Now the real question is, where do each of these numbers go? Because it matters. Courtney.
Well, the A is like the 7
Okay, so you want 7 squared?
plus 13 squared equals C.
X squared. Thoughts?
I agree.
No. 13 what, Liana?
13 and 7, I think, is like switched. Because we're solving for X.
We always take our 90 degrees and go across. That's called the hypotenuse. That's the one that has to be by itself. The one across from 90 degrees has to be by itself. Get your Desmos calculator out? You should. Okay. What am I going to put in my calculator here? Jack? Is 49 plus x squared equals 169. Now what do I do? Subtract what? Very good. I got to get x by itself. So I'm going to subtract 49 from both sides. X squared equals 120. Now I need to do the square root. And this is part of the reason I want you to have your Desmos calculator out so that you're practicing this. You need to take the square root of 120 and round it to the nearest hundredth, which would be 2 digits after the decimal. So you got to use that square root key on your calculator. 10.95. I would agree with that. X equals 10.95. 10.95. Remember, C is the biggest side. It's the hypotenuse. It's across from the 90 degrees. Now, another thing that we did with the Pythagorean theorem is sometimes they would give us all 3 sides, and they wanted us to decide, is it a right triangle? Is it not a right triangle? Or is there not enough information? And Ms. Hoff was right away said, don't let them fool you. You never are going to select not enough information. You either are going to select, yes, it's a right triangle, or no, it's not. On these ones, you want to go a squared plus b squared and put that box c squared, because we have to decide if they're equal. Now, because they don't have a drawing for us, how do we know which one's A, which one's B, which one's C? Oh, there's a certain choice you have to make, though. Liana?
Like the biggest factor is like the biggest side.
It is. So that one is the biggest side is going to be one for A, B, or C? Hypotenuse. Very good. C. So I always say make A your smallest, B your middle, C your largest. Okay, so if we take this first one, what am I putting in for A? 15 squared plus 36 squared. Put a box, 39 squared. $15 squared is 225. 36 squared is 39 squared. Now what do I do?
You add 225.
225 and 1296 together. Is it 1521?
Yes.
It is. So I put an equal sign in here. So what does that mean? Right triangle or not a right triangle? Right triangle. How about you guys do 8, 10, and 13 on your own? 8, 10, and 13. Decide if it's a right triangle or not. I got 164 on the left and 169 on the right. So what does that tell you? Not a right triangle. Very good. Very good. We're not going to even go any further on that because you can do the same thing. Obviously, on your homework, you'll have to do all those, but we're good on that one. Okay? Flip it over once. A ladder leans against the side of a house. The top of the ladder is 16 feet from the ground. The bottom of the ladder is 12 feet from the side of the house. Am I not on the... Sorry, wrong one. I skipped too far ahead. Calculate the distance between points H at -2, -9, and Q, 1, -3. Round your answer to the nearest hundredth. They even gave us a grid on this, and I'm going to use this as an example. They really want us to know how far apart these are. So we said if we could drop it straight down and go straight over, we have a right triangle, yes? So this is where we have to subtract our x's and subtract our y's. Okay? So for our x's, I'm going to take -2 minus 1, which is -3. Now, I don't want a negative. This is where we just automatically make it positive, so it's 3. So on y, I'm going to take -9 minus -3. And here's what I'm going to tell you. Put this in your calculator. Do not get this wrong because you mistyped something or you tried to do it in your head. -9 minus -3. -6. Do we want a negative?
No.
Use a positive. Now, 3 and 6 are what we're going to use in a squared plus b squared equals c squared. One of them for a, one of them for b. Which one do you want for a? 6 squared plus 3 squared equals c squared. 6 squared, 36. 3 squared, 9. C squared stays c squared. Now what do I do? Add them. 36 and 9. 45. Now what do I do? That is not your final answer. One more step. Allison? Square root. We got to take the square root, that check mark, right? That check mark. Now it says to round to the nearest hundredth, which is 2 numbers after the decimal point. So if you take the square root of 45, 6.71. Anybody else get 7.1? Yes. 7.1. All right, one more, and then I'm going to turn you loose. The ladder leans against the side of a house. The top of the ladder is 16 feet from the ground. You see that here. The bottom of the ladder is 12 feet out from the side of the house. Find the length of the ladder. If necessary, round your answer to the nearest tenth. So here's where you have to read carefully today. Sometimes it says tenth, sometimes it says hundredth. So does everybody see my right triangle here? So I'm going to use a squared plus b squared equals c squared. But the real thing is what order you put the numbers in. Where am I going to put those numbers? 16's for a. So 16 squared plus 12 squared equals. Now remind me, where is C in my triangle? Where should C always be?
Middle.
Across from the 90 degrees. Good work. Good job. 16 squared is, say it again, 256. 12 squared.
144.
Then what do I do? Add them together. 400. Then what do I do? Square root the check mark. Very good. Just the whole number?
Yeah.
Just 20. Okay. All of your problems are going to look very, 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 very similar to this today. Okay? You 100% have to have work. Grab grid paper. Go to work. I'll print you one.